Hey guys, welcome to another video on Bharat and Germany. My name is Bharat, and this video we have a very special guest with us who is Kriti Prajapati, and she is living in Denmark. She makes a lot of interesting videos on her YouTube channel about living in Denmark, working, and so on. So you can take a look at that. And also, I'm going to let Kriti now give a bit of the introduction to the viewers who are joining in new. Kriti, tell us a bit about yourself, and then we jump into our questions.
Hi Bharat. First of all, I'm very excited to be here with you talking about Denmark. My name is Kriti and I'm from India. I've been living here in Denmark for more than 4 years now. And the reason I moved to Denmark was because I got married and my husband has been working here. So, and when I left India, I also left my IT job because my passion was somewhere else. And then when I came to Denmark, I got to do theater here. And now in Denmark, I'm working to establish myself as an artist, mainly as a comedian, and now as also as a YouTuber.
Mhm. How has it been working out so far, Kriti? Because I mean, Denmark, like, of course, you also have a language barrier. Like, yes, many people speak English, but like, still, like, the feeling with Danish is always different. We live on the island Ero right now during the summers, and it's the southernmost island in Denmark. We have a house here, and anytime there's some kind of like event or something in the local commune or something, of course everything is in Danish, and like you don't understand anything at all, like if you don't know that. So how has it been impacting, or like how are you managing trying to establish yourself like in such a environment?
Yeah, it is a little challenging. I would definitely say that. And when I moved here 4 years ago, there was no English open mic to do comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But there is this Comedia school, which is an international school for theater. So I got to do that. And then I understood that it can be, it is doable when you want to establish yourself as an English artist. Definitely, like I do stand-up comedy, and there are now it's growing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know Danish, it's much easier
Yeah.
because then you can, if like I'm the only English stand-up comedian, so I can be on Danish television, but I don't speak Danish.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I would say language plays an important role, and it can become difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But now English like group is also growing in Denmark. I can feel that now it's much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In your this comedy school that you're talking about, like what is the gender ratio, like how many men are there, how many females? Have you like found some interesting numbers there?
It depends every year, and because it's a theater school, it's not like you have a specific number.
Mm,
They make sure that it's not more than 20 people
okay.
in one class. And when I was doing it from 2017 to 2019, we were 7 students in the class, and we were 6 of us girls, and there was only one guy from Turkey. So that was the ratio. And
It's like in
we were
engineering,
yeah.
it's completely opposite, right? In engineering, like I know from civil and mechanical, we have what, I don't know, out of a class of 70, we have like just 6 girls and everybody else is a guy, and it's like very different in your the school that you're talking about.
Yeah, it varies, but I think uh, whatever I know about this school, there always been more girls with my understand
Mhm.
whatever I know. Yeah.
So I can just tell you from my personal experience, like we lived in Germany for from 2016 to 2020 essentially. Like in 2020, like we spent a lot of time in Denmark. We saw a massive increase in the living costs. Like the groceries
Yeah.
are more expensive. Internet, we were paying, I think, what, 25 euros or something. Here, like the internet, we are paying 56 euros. And like everything is like in general, it's more expensive and stuff. Like, did you feel something like if you've traveled to other countries, did you make some comparisons or something for the living costs?
Denmark, I would definitely say, is very costly,
Yeah.
especially if you live in Copenhagen, it is costly. And I've been to Frankfurt, and there I found it much cheaper
Yes.
to go out and, eat.
Yeah.
Here, it's not like, you can afford to go whenever you want.
Danes used to
And
come to Hamburg, and like there would be tourists, so many of them, and they would like run around with like shopping bags. And I was like, man, this is like very interesting because we also saw that, like we were in Copenhagen just recently. I think we came on Tuesday, and
Mhm.
we were going out, and like sometimes a dish costs like what, 20 euros, a cold drink costs like 10 euros, like if you're like buy some juice or something in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like definitely like crazy prices.
So definitely, I would say it is. But I have been to Switzerland. So, like Switzerland is, then you feel like you just cannot eat outside. Then you feel like, okay, Denmark is better. But cost wise, I would say yes, it is one of the costliest places to be in Europe. I
Mhm.
feel you have to definitely make the budget about living cost. And right now, like my husband is working, I'm not, like I'm a freelancer, so definitely you need to take care of that thing also in account
Mhm.
when it comes to properly managing the budget.
Tell me a bit about the education system, because as far as I know, like Denmark doesn't offer free education. Like for in Germany, like most of the public universities, it's free. Like how is the story in Denmark?
For with my experience, yes, with this theater school it was not free. I had to pay the fees. And I don't know much about like doing the masters and other higher education, but I know that it's not free. You have to pay the fees.
Mhm.
And with education system, it's definitely different. My experience was like the first shock was that you are not addressing the teacher by sir or ma'am. You're
Mhm.
addressing them by the first name. They are very open and they are very supportive,
Mhm.
because with my education in theater, you needed the help all the time, like because you're experiencing new thing as as a theater student. So there are a lot of things that goes in your mind, and if you don't have the support, you you tend to lose the interest, or you feel like, oh my god, I'm not learning anything. Definitely a lot of focus on individual growth also. And then we were also doing a lot of group activities to grow as a group. And I also felt that because we were 7 students all from different parts of the world, it was little difficult for me in the beginning, but slowly it became easier because of the support that I was getting from the teachers.
Okay, so like this is paid. I know, like when I was thinking of doing the PhD in Copenhagen Business School, it's like what, 25,000 euros or something, like per year, or like 12,000 euros per semester, something like that. And like if you have some scholarships or something, it gets reduced, but like it's like still pretty expensive. So I was like, okay, like this is definitely not a place like where I can do my PhD. Like it's just like too pricey for that. And like similar kind of like things I received, like from the feedback I received from other people, like from Scandinavia, the only country that I see like which is like pretty much tuition free is like Norway. They
Yeah.
also like offer free education. Then you have Germany. I think like that also like fits pretty
So
well.
yeah, like in Denmark is also free education, but it's like all in Danish
Hmm.
if you go. But obviously, like if you want to do courses in English, you have to pay the
Yeah, yeah.
fees.
Mhm.
Otherwise, like in Denmark, we know, like the medical expense is free
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
education is free, but it's like going for public or private schools.
yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Now about the living costs, Kriti, like how much do you end up paying in rent and groceries? Like have you calculated like some things, made some budgets?
Yeah, actually, I calculated for the video particularly because I wanted to give the rough estimate.
Hmm.
So now my husband has bought a studio apartment here because he's been here for more than 5 years.
Hmm.
But earlier he used to live like a little outside the city, and it used to cost around 8,000
Krona. Yeah.
Danish kroner
Hmm.
for 1 BHK.
Hmm.
So if you're living also in the city, it can cost you around 12,000 Danish kroner, definitely for one BHK, 2 BHK.
That's
And
crazy.
yeah, and the grocery, I would say in the beginning you might feel like it's expensive, but once you are here, you will find places where you can get the same thing in good amount, like cheaper price. For us, I would say the grocery shopping comes around 3,500 DK for
Okay,
two
yeah,
people.
that's still reasonable. Yeah,
Yeah, and like I've not added like going out or
yeah.
eating, but it can get expensive at times. And there are definitely Asian stores where you can shop, so that can reduce your overall budget as well. But my husband and I have got into like the culture of little bit shopping from now Danish supermarket. And here also you need to know, because there are expensive supermarket
Mhm.
which is definitely not affordable all the time.
Mhm. We live on the island and we have just like three supermarkets. Two are from this brand called Coop, Coop. I don't know,
Yeah,
like if that's a common thing. Then we have one which is Netto. So we,
Netto is common. Yeah, it's
yeah.
everywhere.
And like, how do you find like which ones of these do you feel like are more expensive and are like cheaper? Like, what are the supermarkets around you?
Around me, like in close to my place, or only like there is Netto,
Hmm.
but the cheapest one in Denmark I know is Rema.
Hmm.
It is, I think, one time I saw when in the news that it is one of the cheapest supermarket in Denmark. Then we have Lidl.
Hmm.
The expensive one which I know is Irma, which is quite costly. I also found, you can get ghee in there, and it was around 700 rupees for 200 grams
Yeah.
or something. So yeah, I
I,
can, like, I have to know that where to shop, to
mm.
balance the budget.
I think the times are gone when we like compare, like kind of convert the prices to Indian rupees, because like if you do that, then you will not end up buying anything in the supermarket at all. We used
Yeah,
to
I
do
have
that in the
stopped that.
starting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very difficult to get over.
Yes, it's like, and for Danish kroner, it's like right now it's 11 point something, like one Danish kroner is, but I always do into 10.
Mm.
So I'm like, I'm still used to, but now I'm like, no, I cannot do all the time. Otherwise, it's like you will
Yeah,
not
yeah,
survive, here in Denmark then.
absolutely. I understand that. Now, about the job opportunities, Kriti, like what kind of job opportunities do you see generally in Denmark? Like the one thing that I hear a lot, like also like in Germany, is like that Denmark has like good salaries. So I would like love to know about that too. Like if you can like tell me some kind of range. Okay, like this is the range in which like people generally start. Like what if you've heard something from your friends?
My experience with job hunting is definitely, I cannot give a proper picture because I myself did not go into it. I left my IT job and I did not do the IT job here. But I know that in Denmark there are a lot of opportunities for IT jobs. People, they work a lot also in health sector, like no Nordics. And right now there are a lot of job opportunities in IT. That's what I'm hearing. And it can vary the initial amount from, I think it is because there are a lot of taxes.
Mhm.
So even if you're earning good money, you are giving 45% tax or something.
Yeah.
So it can definitely start from somewhere from 25,000 DK till it can go up to 40,000 DK.
Mhm.
Uh, and with the job opportunity, you also need to know the system, how it works here. It at times it can get difficult to find job,
Mhm.
but if you understand the system, you understand how it works, you
Mhm.
can get the job. IT jobs are really like they need people in Denmark for IT jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think like this is a important kind of like I think tip for anybody. And also like I think in Europe in general, like if you're from IT side, it's very, very easy to like find job in most of the places. And also let's say with limited national language proficiency in Germany, you can, if you're in IT, you can find jobs generally without much German proficiency, same in Denmark. But like I think a few interesting things about Denmark is like definitely that you don't have to pay any kind of extra contributions for your health insurance and things like that. Everything is directly covered because you're
Yeah,
registered, you have a CPR number, and like yeah, you just pretty much show the yellow card and like you're inside the
yeah,
doctors, not a problem at all. but the taxes, right? Like I think the taxes are also like one of the highest in the world. Like I was
Yeah.
seeing that it kind of like peaks out at 56% taxes, like at the higher end. And at the lower end, I think like above 10,000 euros or something, I think like 70,000 krona, it starts with like 42%. I'm not so sure about it. Like how much have you guys calculated how much you are ending up paying for income taxes and so on?
I might not, percentage wise, what I know is it's around 45%
Yeah,
tax, I can say. Yeah.
I heard
I'm
this.
not 100% sure. Yeah.
We were having a call with our tax consultant in Denmark previously, and he was like, "Yeah, you just end up paying like 42% tax." And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
like maybe if we like start a company, like maybe things get better or something." Because if you have a company in Denmark, you can just pay like 22% taxes, and like then there are like some other ways like you can manage that funds. But I think like as an employee, of course, you don't have that luxury. You just have to like pay that tax. So that is also like pretty interesting. Yeah. Anything else, Kriti, that you saw about like, let's say the major cities and so on? Because like I think most of the opportunities, if I can like imagine, would be like concentrated towards Aarhus or Copenhagen, Odense, or like, do you see something similar? Because I mean, you must have also like talked to your friends in the school and everything. Like, what kind of, let's say, um, trends or something, or like major cities do you see in Denmark?
So if I talk about jobs in theater, obviously with English artists, it's the major cities like Copenhagen, Aarhus, Odense,
Mhm.
as you mentioned. Like in Copenhagen now, you also have like the improv comedy is growing, stand up is growing in Copenhagen. So, and now people are also coming to see the shows. So definitely these big cities are a wonderful place to be if you want to do something as an artist.
That sounds good. Now let's talk about the permanent residency and citizenship part, Kiti. So, do you have any details for me there? Because in Germany, like it's pretty straightforward. You work for 2 years, then afterwards, so you study, and then afterwards you work for 2 years, and you can apply for your permanent residency. It's pretty simple. And if you earn above a specific limit, which is around 56,000 euros a year, you can get the permanent residency in 21 months once you have done your studies. So like that's very fast. And also when you're like applying for citizenship, like you have different kind of provisions, but you can, the fastest way you can get a citizenship is in 6 years. And like without marrying a native or something, like just properly by working for 5 years, paying your taxes and social contributions, you could become a citizen, ideally in like 6 to 8 years. This is the normal timeline.
Okay, this is quite, it looks like this is very easier in Germany,
Mhm.
because in Denmark, obviously you start with the resident permit. Either
Yeah.
you have the work permit, or in my case, I was like accompanying, a, someone who was working here in Denmark.
Yeah.
So that's how I got my resident permit. And you also get that based on how much, how for how long you have the work permit. So depending on that, you get the work resident permit. In
Mhm.
my case, I was like, I'm allowed to work
Mhm.
even though I'm on a dependent visa.
Mhm.
Then for PR, what I know is there are a lot of criteria that you need to fulfill at at like you need to either work for 8 years, or in some cases it is 4 years.
Mhm.
Then you need to clear the Danish test,
Mhm.
which is a mandatory thing. Then you need to also like pay the taxes.
Mhm.
So they say that in Denmark everybody earns the PR, the
Yeah.
permanent resident. So if my husband gets it, it doesn't mean that I will get it.
Mhm.
I have to do the work on my end to get the
Ah,
PR.
interesting.
Yeah. So that is definitely, even I know that even if you are marrying, if you're married to a Danish citizen, you still need to do few things to get your citizenship or PR.
Mhm.
And with citizenship, I think it takes very long time. I'm not 100% sure about the citizenship, but I know about the PR, that
Mhm.
these are the requirements. And you also need to be working. You
Mhm.
cannot, and they keep changing at times the requirement. So you have to be up to date with the system, what is changing. but you need to be working and also learn the Danish language.
I can imagine that, because like I think Denmark has been very, very strict with like also like letting foreigners inside. Like I think with the entire refugee crisis, like you see like they were very, let's say, protective that okay, like we don't want to take like more than is needed like in our country and so on. Denmark is like one of those countries from Scandinavia which is like more, let's say, a bit like right, let's say right wing ideology a bit, like we want to like protect our own people and like things like that. If you take a look at Sweden and Norway, like they're like more, let's say, chilled out. But like on the other hand, if you see, you take a look at all of the COVID measures and stuff, Denmark was pretty much the only country which very quickly like eased all of the COVID regulations. You can still
Mhm.
go out, like I think we don't have masks since May. I don't know, like May or
Yeah.
June or something. And like that's so much better, because if you go to Germany and you go to Austria, you go to so many other countries, every single country like requires you to like still wear masks. But in Denmark, like that's not a problem. Like that's why we kind of like really like it here, and like we do not want to like quickly go to like Romania or Germany or something, because you go to supermarkets, you have to wear masks. You go to like gym, you have to wear
Yeah.
masks. All of these things, and in Denmark, I just like find it so much better.
Yeah, right now you don't need to wear a mask. Only when you are in the metro, that to be when you're entering or exiting, or if you're standing. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like there is any rule with
Yeah,
COVID wearing a
you
mask.
don't feel COVID at all here. Like that's the fun thing that I really like here. Yeah.
Yeah, now things have opened. Open mics are happening. People are coming. Now they also removed the requirement of checking the COVID pass.
Mm-hmm.
So that has also gone, because majority of people are now also vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
So they are not checking your Corona pass.
Mm-hmm. Kriti, let me wrap it up then. Do you have any final advices or tips that you would like to give to the viewers?
If you are coming to Denmark, definitely I would say know about the country. You can read a lot about Denmark on the websites, and if once you are here, it would be really nice to meet other internationals and make new friends, because Copenhagen is definitely a place where you get to meet a lot of internationals. And definitely winter will shock you for the first time, but I think you will find this place really wonderful to live.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's the second happiest country in the world for a reason. So, I mean, there are always like pros and cons, and that's the same story with every single country. And that's what we are trying to do with the series, that like somebody who's already living there, like we can learn from their experiences. And anybody who wants to like, learn more about Denmark and stuff, you can take a look at Kriti's channel. I'm going to put the link for that in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.